One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides onto wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hears back to a cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a happy freaking hump day. Yes, let's freaking go. Feels ultra good to be a G-man. So listen, we got a lot to discuss this morning. We've got many stories lined up for you. Lots going on, as you guys can probably tell from the title here. Iran to begin public executions, as well as SCOTUS ruling on Trump tariffs. That's going to be a humongous deal, by the way. Whatever's ruled on this Supreme Court ruling is going to be a big deal. It'll definitely shape how the rest of the Trump presidency will go going forward regards to tariffs. And then Minneapolis ICE shooting and more. Of course, that's the way that we could consolidate it into a title. But the way that we're actually going to be, the chronological timeline of what we're going to be discussing is a little bit more than just that. So let me go ahead and read what we got here. So yesterday, President Trump speaks to reporters outside the White House. And yes, that is, of course, something we're going to be hearing. Then President Trump tours a Ford plant in Michigan, which is, he's been talking a huge amount about how he's done so well or done well for the car industry. So it's not surprising since he was up there in Detroit yesterday speaking anyways. And then Trump on Iran, quote, "Last time I blew them up." Shit. And then we're going to go into a video, apparently. Trump appears to give a middle finger to a union member. What the fuck is he doing that for? What the fuck is he doing that for? We'll be the judge. We'll let you guys know. I haven't seen the clip yet, but we're going to find out together. And then yesterday as well was another breaking story regards to Iran. It was thousands possibly executed in Iran. Trump reacts. So I guess we'll see how he responds to this. Now, nonetheless, yesterday, right after the show, we reported some to the fact, on the show yesterday, we reported there was anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 or 2,000 to 6,000 people that were executed. At this point, we're looking at 12,000 to 20,000, and that number is going up as we speak right now. So we're talking tens of thousands of people are dying. It's a huge ordeal. And then the Supreme Court signals support for state transgender athlete bans. Very interesting. And then we got the blackout, of course, regards to Iran and their internet, Starlink, all that. We're going to be discussing that a little bit today. And then Clinton's refused to comply with House Epstein subpoena. Now, none of that is actually surprising. People are like, well, isn't it crazy that they want Trump to do it and not, Bill Clinton and listen, man, it is what it is. They don't want to get themselves involved. All right, and then Trump says help is on the way for Iranian protesters, and he said that yesterday in Detroit while he was giving his speech. So I have that video queued up for us. And then 3 hours ago, Iran to begin public executions as Trump urges more protests against the regime. Dude, see, that's when I'm... Yikes, bro. Yikes. And then another Iran update. U.S. withdraws some troops from the Middle East bases. Very interesting. So that's our lineup this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So real quick, let me go ahead and say hi to everyone real quick. Well, actually, I haven't even done my call to actions. Damn, let me go ahead and do that real quick. Make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. If you guys are brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because it's also free, and this is what we do Monday through Friday, man. So make sure you guys join up, stay updated, stay ahead, yeah, man. You know, that's what we get down with. You know, let's get the money part over there. Please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to stay on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So I very much appreciate all of you guys becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail. This is a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We also have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure you guys go in the link down below of any live video. We have the invite link for the Discord server. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms right here that you can send me something here too, and I get 100%, not 70% of the revenue. I get full revenue from it. And of course, I'll read out whatever you guys send, just like a super chat. So insert yourself in the conversation, man. All right, great to see everyone in the chat, man. We got Charles as well as Carney's Ride. We got Easy Frank in the building. We got Steve Easy. We got Prez. We got Mount High. Good morning, you guys. We got Dwayne as well as Mountain Woman. Great to see you all. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm scrolling my way down. Hardwire's in here. Great to see Hardwire. We got Motobomb. And by the way, the coffee crew rated us this morning. I very much appreciate Motobomb. And thank you for having me on your show this morning. It's always a great time, man. Yeah, Charles, so right now they're estimating 12 to 20,000. 12,000 is the conservative number. 20,000 is the liberal number. So that's the way they're looking at it. Just like how they predicted it was going to be 2 to 6,000 yesterday, they're doing the same kind of thing. So 12 to 20 now. We got Big Dan in the building. Good morning to you, as well as Papa D. Good morning. Where's Lucy, damn it? I think Lucy, she was right on this couch right before I started, but she might have heard me getting loud and was like, oh, Dad's getting loud. Time to get out of the couch. Seen the Trump Union video, but I won't spoil it for you. Jimmy Mac, thank you for that. I haven't seen it yet. And yes, I haven't seen anything else being reported, Steve Easy. I have seen just the one that I just mentioned, though. We got Glare, 1%er in the building as well. We got Bree as well. Good morning to you. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your morning, man. Let's see. We got Miss Lotus as well as Rabbit of Chaos. Great to see you. Good morning. We got Brother Dean up there, or over there. I shouldn't say up there. It's over there in Israel. Great to see you in the chat, bro. Good afternoon to you. And yes, that's right. Steve Easy says, Insane Wheels, the #1 spot for news and ill shit. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a motherfucking fact. We're scrolling down, making sure we're all caught up. Looks like that we are. All right, perfect. So we're going to get into the madness this morning. Let's go ahead and do this. Let me make sure I select the right one here. Yep. All right, we're going to start this one off. This is yesterday, Trump speaking to a reporter, or a couple of reporters. Let's see what happens here. It's a very quick update, though. And we may not be able to hear very well, and if we can't, we'll just move on. So far, can't hear shit. There we go.
For the country, but rates are falling also.
Nope, can't barely fucking hear him. I hate this shit. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and skip it. We're going to go right, because we got so much shit anyways. If I can't hear you, I'm not going to make you guys fucking hear it, or try to hear it either. All right, here we go. President Trump tours Ford plant in Michigan, and yes, he was in Detroit, Michigan yesterday doing a major speech, and then after that speech, or I think before the speech, he did this, I think.
Most automakers now are doing great, and before they were having a really hard time. You couldn't, the environmentalists would not have let them survive.
So, Mr. President, when you
What's up, Sterling?
USMCA, how is that going to help?
I don't even think about USMCA. I mean, you know, I want to see Canada and Mexico do well, but the problem is we don't need their product. You know, we don't need cars made in Canada. We don't need cars made in Mexico. We want to make them here. And that's what's happening. Everybody's moving here. From Canada, they're coming here. From Mexico, from Japan, from Germany, from all over the world. They're coming here. They're opening up their plants. Bill is lucky because
That's a major fact, by the way, Sterling. I don't have patience for shit.
he's had a lot here, but when he doesn't have it here, he's moving here. They're doing big expansions for it. But they're all doing great. The car industry is exciting, and to be honest with you, Bill, every industry is exciting.
Yeah.
Just like this.
Well, we need to rebuild our industrial base, and
And you know what's crazy about that, Steve? I didn't know that. I didn't know that until you just said that right now.
that's been a priority of yours.
And we're adding a combustion vehicle, a combustion truck, affordable one in Tennessee to the president's note. That's what these policies are doing for Ford. We're going to actually expand one of our existing plants and make a different kind of truck there.
Tariffs?
Yeah.
Make a different type of truck. What kind of truck? I mean, you need a whole different plant for a whole different truck?
Yes, and the EPA, the relief of the
Tariffs and the relief I gave them from the most ridiculous standards. We had put 3 computers on a car in order to save about this much gasoline from a glass. It was crazy, but I'm very proud of them. And Ford has really been a leader. They've done a great job. But all of them. General Motors is doing really well. Stellantis is doing really well. We're really happy about it. I just wanted to build their product in the USA.
Wow, Glare looked it up. He says the European version of the Ranger. Wow. Shit. That's interesting.
USMCA.
Well, I can. It expires very shortly. And we could have it or not. It wouldn't matter to me. I think they want it. I don't really
What's up,
care.
Pablo?
So it might go away. So you guys are not getting rid of USMCA.
Papa D, that couldn't be more accurate.
No real advantage to us. It's irrelevant to me. Canada would love it. Canada wants it. They need it. Because we don't need Canada product. That's the thing. You know, I want to be a nice person, but we don't need... I want to build the...
Yeah, they weren't they talking about how the export or the use of smaller cars and trucks are not utilized here? I mean, I remember we reported on that not that super long ago, but yeah.
Cars here, not in Canada. We used to build cars in Canada. Now, the Canada cars, the Canadians are moving here to build cars. Same thing with Mexico. Same thing with Japan.
Get dumped off. What does that mean, Pablo?
Japan's paid us billions and billions of dollars for the privilege of making cars here and selling cars.
Yeah, he does emphasize it like that, Papa D. Canada. Yeah, totally. All right, we're moving on, though. Just a little update on that. We're moving on into Trump on Iran. Quote, last time I blew them up.
He's speaking to the media right now. Let's listen in.
So we had great numbers introduced today. We had a wonderful speech in front of great people in Detroit, and mostly in the car business, and we're setting records in manufacturing.
That's weird.
It's going very well. I think people appreciated what I had to say in terms of the numbers. So we're very happy about that. I'm going back to the White House now. We're going to look at the whole situation that's going on in Iran. It's really bad stuff. Minnesota's going to have to take care of itself for a little while. We have tremendous theft and fraud going on in that state because you have an incompetent governor, grossly incompetent governor, and a corrupt governor. But we'll straighten that out. But Iran is
Welcome back, Only Hope. Great to see you in the chat.
on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening.
You may need to reset your entire YouTube, Pablo, because that sounds like a weird YouTube glitch or something.
With regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but we don't know yet for certain. I'll know within 20 minutes. So
Shit, real quick, we got Papa D coming in. $2 saying one on vertical, one on horizontal, all about equality. Well, shit, man, I very much appreciate the $2, man. Definitely goes a long way. It adds up very quick.
and we'll act
Thank you for
accordingly.
that.
Sanctuary cities. U.S. airstrikes comes to that. We'll have the result of protecting the protesters.
Well, you never know, do you? You never know.
Do you think it's,
So far, my track record's been excellent, but you never know.
do you think it's going to be something kinetic like
Excellent.
that, or more like cyber? Or
Well, I can't tell you
I got you, Frank.
Why are you gay?
that. I know exactly what it would be. We have to make a decision, but I can't be. Obviously, I can't be telling you.
timeline? Yeah, timeline.
Sir, Jamie Dimon said today
What's up,
that it's
Extra
not
Surprise?
a good idea to be chipping away at the Fed's independence. Do you think Jamie Dimon's wrong about that?
Yeah, I think it's fine what I'm doing. We have a bad Fed person. He was extended by Biden, and yeah, I think he's wrong. I think it's wrong. He's done a bad job. We should have lower rates. Jamie Dimon probably wants higher rates. Maybe he makes more money that way.
On sanctuary cities, sir.
What's up, KH5? Great to see you in the chat again.
Also talking about the 10% credit cards. The House Speaker said that it could have negative side effects if it was imposed through Congress. Are you concerned about that? Have you talked about
No, I'm not. I think that people that are paying 28% interest should be protected. We're talking about for a one-year period, but when you have a bank, whether it's Jamie Dimon or anybody else, judging people 28,
Oh, you're on PC side. That's interesting.
32%, 30%, 31%, one case 35%.
Bill
No,
Castle.
I'll help those people. That's all right.
Sanctuary
I
cities,
agree.
sir, in your speech, you said
It's a one-year 10%. Let the people have a break.
in your speech you said that you're going to be cutting off funding for sanctuary cities on February 1st.
That's right.
What kind of
That's going to be a W for America. February 1st, all sanctuary cities get defunded.
funding?
You'll see. It'll be significant.
All federal funding?
On healthcare, is there something that you can do with insurance companies to bring down premiums like you're doing with credit
Yeah, I'm
cards?
going to meet with the insurance companies, but I want the money to go directly to the people. It's very simple. Into a healthcare savings account, but directly to the people so the people can buy their own healthcare.
Because on Thursday, with the 6-year anniversary of you signing the Phase 1 trade deal with China, the signature on it, would that deal open Chinese markets to U.S. goods, it protects intellectual property? Can we get back to that?
Yeah, we can. We can do it very well with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, as you obviously know. We're doing really well. We're making a lot of money with China.
Can you open their markets to U.S. goods?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Intel?
Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it is worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Ron said that the last time I blew him up with the nuclear capability, which they don't.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Intervene in Iran.
Yeah, Ron said that the last time I blew him up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Mr. President, you have a
Intel stock is really high after you invested. Are you going to invest more in
Yeah,
Intel?
I like it. So, well, I don't know about Intel, but I'll invest more in other things. So, as you know, Intel came to see.
Yeah, Intel is another company that we invested and bailed out billions worth, and finally we actually got something back, 10% of the business. After billions and billions and billions of dollars, us bailing out Intel, now the government owns 10% of it. Yeah, I mean, fuck, at this point.
Me, they needed help. And I said, I'll help you, but I want 10% of
The government's like the biggest investor, and that's exactly what he's saying right here. I want 10% of the fucking business.
As you know, Intel came to see me. They needed help. And I said, I'll help you, but I want 10% of your company to go to the United States of America. And we made, because of that deal, tens of billions of dollars. The stock went very up and very high, and we made tens of billions of dollars. They walked away, and they gave us a lot of money, but they did a great deal for themselves because their stock has gone up. As soon as we went in, Apple went in, NVIDIA went in, a lot of smart people went in, they followed us. So, yeah, we're doing that. We've done other of those deals. In Alaska, we did a deal where we got a big piece of a company where we were helping them to get a road. We're the only ones that could have done it. And we said, we want something out of the company for the United States of America, okay? So I believe in that. We have some other ones that we're looking at.
What's up, Jeremy Ryan? Great to see you in the chat, bro. Good morning.
I believe in that. If it's up to us, if they can't do it without us, and then I say, well, we'll do it. If you were a private guy, you'd say, what do we get for doing it? Now, I don't want anything for myself. I want our country to be rich as hell. But with Intel, we made billions and billions of dollars, right?
So, Mr. President, on Iran, do you have a message for the leaders currently of Iran?
Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem, and I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
Secretary Bennett, a Haiti hostage rescue effort that ended in disaster.
Well, it was a disaster for Jimmy Carter. They had all sorts of problems, and the helicopters were crashing and everything. You know what it was? The exact opposite of Venezuela. Do you agree with that? Do you agree?
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit! As a reporter, who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with the Financial Times, sir.
Oh, good. What's a nice paper?
So are you committing not to sending U.S. troops into Iran?
Why would I tell you that? I don't talk about...
He said, why would I tell you that? Shit, bro.
Troops into Iran.
Why would I tell you that? I don't talk about military strategy with a reporter, you know? Even though I do like the Financial Times.
Are you consulting with our allies regarding Iran? What are they telling you, and why do you think the
Well, I'm not going to tell you what they're telling me. I don't tell you what they...
Why do you think the Iranian leadership continues to defy you, Mr. President?
You think they are?
Well,
it's only been a couple of days. Well, they said that about Venezuela, too, you know? It's only been a couple of days. They haven't defied me. They haven't done anything as far as we're concerned. But it looks like they're killing a lot of people. but it has not been confirmed. I'll know very soon.
On Greenland, sir, the premier of Greenland said today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the
Who
final
said
word?
that?
The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is. Don't know anything about him. But that's going to be a big problem for him.
Do you want to see democracy in Iran?
Ideally, you'd like to see it, but what we want to see is we don't want to see people killed, and we want to see a little bit of freedom for these people. These people have been living in hell for a long time. That used to be a hell of a country. I have friends that used to invest in Iran, and they did well with their investments. It was a great place. The people were great. Even the leadership was good. And now it's living in hell.
Well, back in the 50s?
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, so when he says, thank you, everybody, that means he is done. He is not having any more conversation. All right, we do have a video, though. Trump appears to give a middle finger to a union member. Let's go ahead and figure out what the hell this is all about. I really don't know. I haven't seen this. I saw this only when I was pulling up my sources for the show this morning, and I saw the title. It's a very quick update, though. Let's go ahead and figure it out.
For you on Live Now from Fox, always worldwide for you as we continue to bring you some of the day's biggest top stories and headlines. Our next story talking about this TMZ report and video coming out from President Trump's visit to Michigan earlier today. You can see they're exclusive. President Trump was filmed flipping off a Ford worker who yelled pedophile protector at him. Take a look at the video that TMZ was able to obtain. And you can see the moment when President Trump is hearing the shouting.
Pointing.
Of this person that is screaming at him, but then you can see maybe what the president is doing. And TMZ report
he was pointing at the guy so far.
That he is telling that person with the sign language.
Oh, he did middle finger. Aha! That's pretty funny, bro. He did do it. Oh shit!
He is telling that person with
right there. That's where it happened. Right there. Shit.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Hey, I don't give a fuck about shit like that. I mean, you guys know exactly how I speak, how I talk. I don't give a shit about none of that shit. I'm like, yeah, fuck you too, man. You know?
The sign language. Up there it is right there.
That's hilarious.
The middle finger going against that
flipping the
worker
bird
that was inside of the Ford plant there.
Look at his little finger.
Toward the Ford F-150 plant at the Detroit Economic Club. Before giving a speech while walking the factory floor on his tour, someone began shouting at President Trump, and it was hard to make out the full sentence that was shouted at the
What's up, TVT, my man? Good morning.
President, but it seems to have included the words pedophile protector, and President Trump would not be happy with that, and again points back to that protester and
liquored up with Poncho, my man.
Worker there, and then also using his middle finger to showcase his displeasure of hearing from that Ford worker. We are getting a response from the White House today in this viral video. Stephen Chung, the White House communications director, says to TMZ, a lunatic was wildly screaming expletives in a complete fit of rage, and the president gave an appropriate and unambiguous response. So that is the White House response there from this moment happening earlier today in Detroit.
Well, it looks like the White House is backing his play there. Not surprising. All right. Next story. We got, of course, we are following what's happening in Iran. Now, obviously, as you guys know as well, we do everything here on a chronological basis. This is not the last update on Iran. We've got like 3 more updates to lead to current time now that I've got queued up ready to go. But, of course, I'm going to play this in chronological order. So, yesterday, thousands possibly executed in Iran. Trump reacts. Now, of course, the public executions are actually set to start like today or something like that. We have that at the very end of the live stream. We're going to be playing that part. But, all right, here we go. Thousands possibly executed in Iran. Now, yesterday we reported numbers from 2,000 to 6,000. Now they're speculating 12 to 20,000.
Everyone, it's you live now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Always great to be with you as we continue to bring you some of the day's biggest top stories and headlines. And the big international story right now is the situation in Iran, where the White House right now is weighing possible action because of the really alarming reports out there of mass deaths of protesters that are happening. And some of those reports have the numbers into the thousands. We're waiting for more confirmation on that. But let's go right outside to the White House. That is where we find Fox News correspondent Rich Edson joining us here with the latest. And Rich, we just heard from President Trump on this matter.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. And you're going to hear a helicopter here in a couple of minutes. That's the president. What we just heard was him at Joint Base Andrews after he landed here from Detroit. He gets on the helicopter. He lands on the south lawn of the White House. We'll see if he talks again. He's been talking an awful lot about this today. But the major thrust of all this is that he says he's going to get back to here at the White House. He's going to get a report from his security and intelligence officials, who, by the way, have been meeting here at the White House since this morning. 2 separate meetings that we've confirmed with Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, and other top intel officials about what exactly is going on inside Iran. We know that information coming out about how many people the regime has killed is somewhat spotty. We've seen reports that the U.S. government is looking at a confirmation of hundreds of people that have been killed, but that number could be much, much higher because it's very difficult to pin that down since Iran shut off the internet. The U.S. doesn't even have an embassy there, hasn't had one there since the late 1970s. So when you look at all of this, they're trying to figure out exactly what the death toll is, what the momentum is, what it's looking like in Iran. And look, President Trump drew a red line. He said that if Iran's killing protesters, that the United States will act. Well, Iran is killing protesters. We do know that much, at least. The question is really how many protesters are they killing and how many are dying each day. So as the president examines all these issues, according to officials, his top security officials are meeting today to try to figure out or present the president with options as to how he can respond to Iran in all of this, whether they're talking about military strikes like the U.S. did against Iran's nuclear program.
Yeah, but we already know that aspect. Let me see if there's any like tweets or anything else brought into this
that we can rely on. And any group of protesters, they're going to be fractured across the country. So it's going to be in elements. There have been numbers from several hundred, 400, to as high as several thousand. I would probably bias the estimates into the higher end of that, certainly as this protest, which is nationwide and is being violently suppressed. And I think we're probably not quite yet we're probably at the beginning of the beginning, I think is the best way to describe it. So this is what is the cost of regaining a government that's responsive to the people's will. Unfortunately, the cost is going to be very high.
And we know about the red line with President Trump. He said in the past there that if protesters are being killed, that there would be action from the U.S. How close are we to that, and what could that look like if it does happen?
Well, I think the most important thing coming from Washington, D.C., and hopefully other Western and similarly aligned countries, that there's not going to be any quarter given or any type of support provided to relief, certainly not offered, to this theocratic dictatorship in Tehran today. I think that's the most important thing, and making clear that the United States will act if it appears that the regime is exceeding in its violence against the people. What that is and how that is executed, I think is best left undefined, because the threat, which is very real, will keep hopefully that regime from the most extreme and excessive of violence against their own people.
Well, it sounds like they've already started to do that. All right, we're going to move on because that's not the only update we've got. We've got like 2 more updates on Iran. But first, we got to talk about Supreme Court signals support for state transgender athlete bans. Let's go and see what this is all about. And we also, I think it's smart of us that we need to, first of all, let you guys know, hit the like button. We've got 209 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side. I very much appreciate that. And let's get the money part over with as well.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Perfect.
Denied.
Here we go.
Welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. We appreciate all our viewers continuing to join us. I want to give you a live look right now at the Supreme Court, and that is where earlier today we had our big coverage hearing on the Supreme Court arguments on transgender athletes in sports. So this is coming from the Wall Street Journal, as the Supreme Court appeared inclined to uphold state laws banning transgender women and girls from playing on women's and girls' sports teams. So for more on that, let's go right outside of the Supreme Court. That is where we find Fox 5 Washington D.C.'s Katie Barlow joining us here with the latest breakdown of what we heard today.
Hey, Mike, good to be with you. Things are actually pretty quiet outside the Supreme Court right now. It was a very different scene just 2 hours ago, where there were large groups of protesters from both sides of this case holding rallies outside at the front of the Supreme Court.
What's up, Doomerang? Good morning. Great to see you, and happy hump day.
After 3.5 hours of oral argument. And I'll tell you, after sitting through that 3.5-hour oral argument, the bottom line is it appears a majority of the Supreme Court is ready to allow states to ban trans athletes from participating in women's and girls' sports. The cases today, really a pair of cases, one out of Idaho, where they have passed a law banning trans women and girls from participating in women's and girls' sports from elementary school all the way through college. And then there's one out of West Virginia, where the legislature banned it in public secondary schools all the way up as well. So A question is how exactly the court may do this. And of course, we never know exactly what the court's going to do. But gleaning some insights from the questions that were asked today, it looks like a majority of the justices would be hesitant to stop states from banning trans athletes from participating in women's and girls sports. Most notably, I would say Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who can often be key to having a majority on this Supreme Court, said, why would the court get involved when states are still making these decisions, especially right now where he says the scientific evidence is still uncertain. Both sides are arguing they've got scientific evidence on their side. So Justice Brett Kavanaugh saying, why would we jump in the middle of that? And is our decision here something that would prevent states who have decided to allow trans women and girls to participate in women's and girls sports? Would that get in the way of those states accommodating those athletes? And the answer seems to be no. Again, it'll depend on how the justices write the decision. But gleaning some insights from the questions today, it appears a majority of the court is at least ready to allow states to do that.
And Katie, is there any word on when a possible opinion could be released? Will it maybe go to the summer, to the fall? What do we know?
I'll tell you, Mike, we're about halfway through the court's term. We're in January right now, and typically they rise for summer recess around June. This is one of the biggest cases of the term, and there is likely to be disagreement. The court's 3 liberal justices today seem to be pushing back where they could, although maybe even acknowledging that they've lost the big game and maybe just trying to make the loss not so painful for them. So given that, the writing's going to take some time, and those cases tend to come down toward the end of June, early July. I will also say that the states who are continuing to try and pass and enforce these bans are arguing that they're doing so in the name of both fairness and safety in women's and girls sports. And states with Republican-led legislatures versus Democratic-led legislatures continue to disagree on that. And right now, in the West Virginia case, for example, they are not allowed to enforce the ban. That issue actually came up to the Supreme Court. And whether they could enforce that ban while this litigation plays out, they're not allowed to do that. But that could change, to your point, when this decision comes down, likely at the end of June, early July.
So many people will be watching when that time is about to come. Katie, thanks so much for joining us on Live Down from Fox. We appreciate all the updates and analysis.
Yeah, I just don't understand why these states are still sticking up for it. I just don't get it. What are you catering to? Like, why? Okay, well, we're moving on. So, regards to the blackout in Iran targeting Starlink internet. Now, I believe the last number that we reported on was 85% was completely blocked out in Iran for Starlink and all that. We've got a little update on this, though.
And welcome back, everyone, to Live Down from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us. We are keeping an eye on the big international story as we are waiting to hear more major news coming out of Iran. These protests have been continuing, and we're hearing just disturbing reports of many protesters being killed. And we are keeping an eye on all of the developments. But what is key here for many in Iran is having a communication. And right now, that could be really going in and out as those rolling blackouts continue. But Elon Musk has been offering up a free Starlink in Iran. We want to continue to get updates on that right here for you on Live Down from Fox. Let's bring in our next guest to help break it all down from the Wall Street Journal, Benoit Faucon. Thanks so much for joining us, Benoit, on this major story. What have we been learning?
His name is Benoit, like Benoit beads? Oh my fucking God. Shit.
Learning about Elon Musk's offer here.
I mean, what we do know is that he has said in the past already that he wanted to be sure that there would be a waiver, on providing Starlink satellite services to Iran. That was back in 2022 during previous protests. And it turns out it was already authorized. There was already a sanctioned waiver on anything in Iran, any software or services, satellite services that can alleviate or bypass censorship on the internet. So in a way, legally, from a U.S. perspective, it's already possible.
And tell us just what is a rollout like this? I mean, is it something where they can just maybe flip a switch and because Starlink is...
Damn, that sucks, Papa D. Let me talk to them. I'll explain how you need to not do adult things right now. I'm just kidding. We'll see on the flip side.
Now they're able to get it. I mean, what does a rollout look like here?
I mean, that's not a huge number. There's not a huge number, but it's a critical.
Real quick, we got Brother Pitbull across the pond over there in the UK. Always appreciate my man. And hopefully you're enjoying your hump day afternoon for you.
Number. Those that are already set up, I mean, in recent days, when I wanted to speak to someone, there was no other way, right? So I was only able to reach people who had Starlink. Very small number, but I was learning a lot. Like today, for instance, I was speaking to someone who told me, there's still fire beneath the ashes. There's still protests. You may not see them, not the most recent ones, on TV. They're much harder to send, on video, but they're still there. So from a to create some transparency about what's happening in this country, Starlink has been
Hey, you. What's up, my man? Good morning.
In recent days, the only way. Now, it seems it was a little bit easier. There was some reconnection today, but as far as the days that I followed the blackout on Thursday, that was really the only way to know really what was happening in that country.
And Benoit, tell us about how the communication has been for you trying to reach the story and talk to the people inside Iran. How's that been like so far?
So I would say everything was delayed. So you'd really, before you'd have videos very quickly after the protest. In that case, it was several hours, very often the next morning. So there was that element. Second, there was all the people that I would speak to normally on WhatsApp and, other types of really classical phone lines. That was impossible. They were unreachable in all the cities that I speak to normally, whether Tehran or in the provinces. So the only way was this very select, small number of people who had Starlink. That was the only way I could know what was happening.
I wanted to see what it says down here. President Trump again appears to threaten Iran that if protesters are being killed, the U.S. is likely to act to stop it. Reports suggest thousands of protesters might be killed in Iran of demonstrators who are protesting against the regime. We already know that, but I wanted to see if there was an actual percentage of how much is being blocked of Starlink, and we're really not getting that. So we're going to move on because we still have more updates on Iran, and I don't really like talking about any type of speculation of things. I like facts. And so, anyways, speaking of interesting facts, Clinton's refused to comply with House Epstein subpoena. I think that you guys saw that yesterday. A lot of you guys saw that on social media, YouTube, all of that. Now, here's the report they made on that.
All right, you're watching live now.
We're not going to play the whole thing either because we still got things on Trump that we got to talk about and 2 other updates on Iran.
Austin Westfall, live look at the White House.
About public
And a live look at
executions and
Capitol
all
Hill.
sorts
Our
of
next
shit.
Story comes out of Capitol Hill. Today, the House Oversight Committee says Bill and Hillary Clinton did not appear for scheduled closed-door depositions in its Epstein-related inquiry, while the Clintons' lawyers argue the subpoenas are legally invalid and that written declarations should suffice. Fox's Bill Malugin reporting on this. Let's watch.
Waiting. Can't hear shit. Bring up the volume, homeboy.
I'm going to note
There
for the
we go.
record that former President Clinton is not present.
Former President Bill Clinton, a no-show on Capitol Hill today. The chair he would have sat in, empty.
As a result of Bill Clinton not
What's
showing
up,
up
Eric?
for his
Good
lawful
morning.
subpoena, we will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress.
Despite being under a federal subpoena, Clinton failed to appear for a scheduled deposition with the House Oversight Committee as part of its Jeffrey Epstein investigation.
I think it's a defiance of Congress for them to defy the subpoena. I mean, I think by definition, it's a contempt of Congress.
Hillary Clinton is also subpoenaed to give her deposition tomorrow. But in a letter, Clinton's lawyers call the subpoenas, quote, invalid and legally unenforceable.
Why weren't they in there? Anybody else in America would be shamed to the point of coming in, but the Clintons have just been given a, they're just given a pass.
Also not in attendance today, any of the Democrats on the committee.
Not a single Democrat showed up today.
Oh, wow.
We asked Oversight Committee...
Not only did they not show up, the Clintons, but not a single Democrat showed up. Damn.
Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, why she wasn't there.
Congresswoman, why didn't any House Oversight Democrats show up to the deposition for Bill Clinton today, ma'am?
Oh, she ain't gonna say shit. She is out of there.
Show up, ma'am. At least one Democrat thinks
Wow.
those in her party and the Clintons should have come.
It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. You should show up. Everything should be public.
And the House will have to vote to
I think it's crazy that they're allowed to not show up.
approve holding former President Bill Clinton.
Like, I thought you're representing people. I thought that's your obligation is to vote or be heard or put your position down.
In contempt of Congress for not showing up today. If it passes the House with a simple majority vote, it then gets referred to DOJ. It will then be up to AG Pam Bondi to decide if she wants to prosecute. Reporting on Capitol Hill, Bill Malugin, Fox News.
All right, we appreciate Bill's reporting a live look at the White House and a live look at Capitol Hill on this Tuesday evening. Let's bring in legal analyst John Day. He's standing by here. John, what makes a congressional subpoena for a deposition legally enforceable or not enforceable?
Well, thanks for having me. This sets up such an interesting fight. When have we seen this before? When Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro in a previous administration faced the same issue, and they were held in contempt of Congress, and they did.
Yeah, that's one thing I can really give their side. They do stick together on their shit like that.
Prison time. Is that what we're setting up Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton for? I mean, it's a challenge. It's a direct challenge to the authority of the Congress. And as we've seen in the Bannon and Navarro cases, people do go to prison for making these decisions. So what makes this an enforceable document, a piece of paper, is that it's a subpoena from Congress, and you choose to ignore that at your peril, as we've seen before.
You know, committee leaders are now talking about moving forward contempt of Congress after the non-appearance. John, what's the most realistic enforcement route after a contempt vote happens in a high-profile case like this?
Right. Well, it gets kicked over to the Department of Justice, and I think we know most likely the procedure after that. I think it would be an aggressive prosecution by this DOJ. But it's a choice that the Clintons made to ignore these subpoenas. It looks like Hillary Clinton's not going to appear as well. And that's a battle, that they apparently want to fight. But again, people have gone to prison for making that decision.
Bill Clinton posting this on social media. I believe Hillary sent this out as well. I won't read the entire thing verbatim, but one quote that sticks out: "This is not about right or left. It's about right and wrong." The Clintons, John, have submitted sworn statements denying wrongdoing and saying that they're...
Damn, Bill Clinton's been waiting to say that fucking quote forever. This is not about right or left. It's about right and wrong. Shit.
Oh, shit! Oh, shit! The contact with Epstein was limited. They are framing the committee's demands as politically motivated rather than investigationally necessary. How does the law distinguish between a legitimate legislative purpose and a process that court might view as improper or purely political?
Well, the difference...
Yes, we've got over 400. We've got 469 people in here right now. Make sure you guys double tap the screen as well as hit the like button, man. Very much appreciate all your laborious work on that. Listen, you don't have to like all the craziness that's happening around the world or in our nation, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So I very much appreciate that. And yes, Doomerang, I got you.
It's always going to be to Congress, essentially. I mean, you can make the same argument that previous efforts to get people under subpoena, as I brought up Bannon and Navarro, ended in prison sentences. And so you've got a direct challenge to the authority of Congress. And you've even got Democrats in Congress saying the Clintons should show up, everybody should show up, be transparent. So there's obviously a split along those lines about whether this was an appropriate procedure or not. But at the end of the day, who's going to win? I think courts are going to be very deferential to the congressional power to bring people in front of them. And you can argue that it's a political proceeding, but at the same time, if you don't show up, you don't get to make that argument in front of that body.
Yeah, man, this is rough. What a rough landscape, man. All right, we're going to move on, though. Trump says help is on the way for Iranian protesters. Now, this came out 12 hours ago, so it was like 10 o'clock at night for me around that time that this came out. And then I have an update on Iran, not only the U.S. Withdrawing some troops from the Middle East, but then Iran to begin public executions. So there's a lot of shit, heavy shit going on right now.
To all Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your...
This happened yesterday when he was speaking at Detroit. This is when he did this part. Now, I'm not sure if this is... No, they're just showing a clip from his speech yesterday. And then they're going to, discuss it and show a whole bunch of pictures and videos and stuff. But this is when he was speaking yesterday in Detroit.
If possible. And save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing.
Oh, shit, man. You know what really fucking sucks, TVT, is I'm on StreamYard, and unfortunately, I can't see on my side when anybody ever gifts on the vertical side. That's something that StreamYard needs to actually fix. But Ricky Billings, I see you on my my phone side now. Ricky Billings sending in 100 for 2 joules. I very much appreciate that, homie, and as well as he sends in 260 joules for New Year's Eve 2026, man. I very much appreciate you, bro. That goes a long way. And it looks like Only Hope was also sending joules. She sent 30 joules, a flower, a floating heart, and a floating heart for 10 each. Man, I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much for that.
Strong words from President Trump to the people of Iran, vowing help is on the way for citizens enduring a brutal government crackdown. The president says he canceled meetings with the Islamic Republic until the killing of protesters ends. Human rights groups believe the death...
Oh, shit, real quick. We got... Oh, shit, I missed this fucking one from Papa D in the very beginning of this morning. I'm super sorry, Papa D. He sends in $2 and says, "Morning, peeps." Very much appreciate that. And TVT coming in with the 5 spots saying, Send in a tip if you appreciate Mike. Hey, man, I very much appreciate that. That goes a long fucking way, bro. Thank you. It adds up.
Toll now numbers in the thousands. Iran reportedly plans to execute one protester by hanging on Wednesday. President Trump has been briefed with options ranging from diplomacy to military strikes.
When they start killing thousands of people and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to
Well, and we have that update regarding executions here in a minute.
work out good.
Iran says it is ready to respond.
Whatever option they choose, we are ready.
Protests began with frustration over the
No, you
collapse
ain't.
of Iran's currency. They were in
I don't know why that motherfucker lying like that.
A bullshit? A bullshit?
They ain't ready.
Bullshit. A bullshit.
I promise you these guys aren't ready.
flamed by the regime's harsh response, shutting down phone lines and internet. President Trump has already announced new 25% tariffs for any country doing business with Iran. Democrats in Congress, while supporting the rights of Iranians to protest, want any possible military action to be approved first.
If the president wants to use military force, then under our Constitution, that requires authorization.
Now, this is the Democrats in
Congress.
Senate.
And I'm sure Congress is happy to have that debate, but you got to have that debate.
The State Department is warning any Americans currently
It may be House. I can't remember.
in
But
Iran
anyways, whatever.
to leave. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
I hate when they do
we've
that.
been bringing you images.
I hate when they say it like that. Fox News. Shit is so gay.
Why are you gay? Of the protests themselves. And it's worth mentioning also that with the communication blackout in the country, videos, photos, even reliable reports of casualties are getting tougher and tougher to come by. Standing by is Professor Alon Burstein of the Israel-Palestine
Motorcycle
Report.
on
He joins
fire?
us here to
Two
help
motorcycles.
us make sense of everything we've been tracking in Iran these past few days. Alon, it's good to see you. One of the many reasons why...
And this guy is really fucking good about reporting, especially, Hamas in particular, but he's always been good about anything the axis of resistance based. He's very knowledgeable on.
The world is tracking this closely is because we're curious if this will somehow lead to Iran's 86-year-old supreme leader.
Stop the cap.
Got
What
you,
are the
TVT.
options that could actually lead to that happening?
Good to see you, Austin. There's a lot of different ways that he could himself lose power. Now, one of those obviously is if he is killed, either by protesters or by possibly military intervention, United States, Israel, or things like that, some sort of assassination. There's also a technical possibility, and there hasn't been a lot of talk about this, but it is technically possible for him to be removed from power from within without
What's up, Virgil? Good morning.
the regime collapsing. There is a structure and mechanism to which he was appointed by a council of religious leaders. There's never been a situation where they've had to remove someone from power, but if the regime senses that it is facing collapse, it may, and this is just speculation on my part, the leaders of the regime itself may try to appease some of the protesters by saying he's going to resign, let's say, now obviously not be deposed, he's considered God's emissary, but then instill someone else within the same framework of the regime. They may try that. I'm not sure it'll be successful. That's another technical option. A third option, of course, is for him to continue to retain power because there are a lot of different security mechanisms in Iran, and at least two of them are directly loyal to the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. So while it looks bad for the regime right now, it's far from over as far as the security forces that are suppressing the protests as far as they're concerned.
You know, you heard in Connor's reporting there that President Trump is urging the people of Iran to take over the country's institutions. He has also canceled all meetings with the Iranian
What's up, Squirrel? Hopefully you're enjoying your hump day morning. Great to see you in the chat.
regime. That means the U.S. and Khamenei's regime are no longer speaking, according to the White House. What might be the strategic rationale for Trump canceling meetings with the Iranians alone?
So I'll say two things. First of all, I don't fully buy that. I do buy that Trump himself is not meeting with the administration, but there's always back channel communications. You and I've talked about the Israel-Hamas war for 2+ years. And I've said, Israel and Hamas don't recognize each other. They're always talking. It's just through back channels.
And what's up, SNS? Great to see you in the chat too, as well.
Through negotiators, through emissaries. There was a report today that Qatar is
What's
very
up,
busy
Kat? Good
doing what
morning.
they love to do, mediating between sides, and they are
Very
hosting
true.
meetings of delegates of the two countries. What Iran tried to do, and I'll say it was a relatively smart attempt, it didn't work. What they tried to do is appease Trump by saying very quickly, several days ago when the protests started getting out of control, let's negotiate again. Let's go back to the table. Everyone knows Trump loves deals. Trump loves deals. He'd rather work things out diplomatically instead of using military force. And Iran tried to dangle that in front of him and said, you know what, you're threatening military intervention. Let's rather go back and have talks between us, hoping that Trump would back down. I think Trump saying, I have now canceled all meetings, is his showing, at least publicly, that he's slamming the door in Iran's face publicly.
Yeah, canceling all meetings with government officials of Iran. And then on top of that, any nation that is doing any type of business with Iran has been, Trump has added a tariff of 25% to any of those countries that are dealing with Iran at all. So we're going to move on, though, because we still have 2 more updates on Iran that we got to get to, and we're already 50 minutes in. Okay, so Iran to begin public executions as Trump urges more protests against the regime. Now, this came out 3 hours ago. This is one of our latest updates in regards to public executions over there.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining us here at Live Now from Fox on this Wednesday. It is January 14th.
And real quick, before we get totally into it, you got to embrace your fuck-ups. Guys, we got 279 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, as well as double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. I very much appreciate that.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Shit. Embrace the process.
Rahara. I'm here to bring you all of the top stories of the day following breaking news from the past several days, and when there's live events, we will take them in full, as we do. We do want to start, though, the program with more developments coming out of Iran as I take us back to some of the images that we have continued to get throughout the last several days, given those massive protests against the regime. The Associated Press reporting this, that the head of Iran's judiciary signaled on Wednesday there would be fast trials and executions ahead for those detained in those nationwide protests, despite a warning from President Trump. The comments from Iran's judiciary chief come as activists had warned hangings of those detained could come soon. Already, a bloodied security force crackdown on the demonstrations has killed at least 2,500 people. That's according to the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency and their reports. That figure, though, it does dwarf the death toll from any other round of protests or arrest in Iran in decades, and recalls the chaos surrounding the country's 1979 Islamic Revolution. All points that we're going to get to in just a moment, because joining us now is Jonathan Sayeh. He is the Iran program analyst, a research analyst there for the Foundation of the Defense of Democracies. Jonathan, good to have you on this morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
All right, so let's just start with what we know about these mass executions and the trials. So when is that expected to take place, and do we know who exactly may be executed?
This has been the Islamic Republic's perhaps most brutal way of addressing protests. The Islamic Republic continues to be the highest executioner per capita, but numerically only second to China. On average, they execute about 1,000 people a year. A lot of times, these individuals are accused of political crimes, such as waging war against God. That continues to be the case right now. But the judiciary's remarks here are really, to this extent, are unprecedented for them to officially announce that they will fast track any trial and move forward with executions. And again, we have to keep in mind that the accusations that these protesters are facing are not minimal crimes. They are crimes of espionage. They're all crimes that could be effectively met with execution. So it's a really precarious time. And as for the death count, I know we've heard numbers as about 2,000 to 3,000, but other estimates are much, much higher, given the regime's brutal repression tactics of opening fire on protesters and deploying foreign militias that are terrorist groups to crack down on these unarmed protesters.
It's interesting that you label this entire situation as unprecedented. So, Jonathan, take us back to how this does compare to past protest crackdowns, specifically what we saw back in 2019 or 2009.
The similarities between this wave and 2019 is the fact that in
this one's way larger.
Both cases, the repression happens under a total internet blackout. But this
and then I think they only killed, it was less than 100 people, or was it like 100 people? And then they stopped.
What makes it unprecedented is the fact that, coupled with internet outages, there's also electricity outages and landline disruptions. So Iranians cannot communicate with each other. They cannot communicate with the outside world. Now, even going further back in 2009, that I was active in the protests when I was in Tehran, at that phase, there were still hopes of reform within the system. Maybe altering angles of the Islamic Republic would theoretically get us to a improved governance and status, but those dreams have been shattered long ago. These are movements after movements calling for regime change through the help of the opposition. And another angle, again, that makes this protest stand out compared to 2019 and even 2022 is the fact that the opposition, paired with what President Trump had to say, so really you had the president of the free world and you had the Crown Prince Pahlavi calling on protesters, and they were able to bring in thousands, if not millions, of really Iranian going beyond just a protest. This is more of a revolt or a revolution. So that is really what's unprecedented here, meaning that there is a unified voice amongst all Iranians about not only how they want to overthrow the regime, but what they want to see after, which is the return of the crown prince, at least as a transitional figure, so there's no power vacuum in the country.
Just going off of what we have seen in history, if these mass executions do take place, what can we expect from that protest movement going forward?
It would be a blow. It would be a devastating blow to the protesters' morale. Again, that is a regime that wants to terrorize its own people. And a lot of times these executions actually take place in public. So they're public hangings, trying to intimidate the local population of that area or really Iran as a whole, deter them from protesting. But what we've seen with this wave is that even though this has been the worst case of crackdowns against protesters, people are still showing up in greater numbers. And what's really driving that force is President Trump's announcement saying America's with you and we will back you in this fight. So there is a momentum inside Iran, and if we were not to act now, the international community, Israel, Europe, or America, were not to act now meaningfully, we risk really alienating the protest and let this die out, given that it's an unprecedented level of opportunity that really the West has to topple the Islamic Republic using an organic internal movement.
Talking about the global response to this, how world leaders are reacting, and more specifically President Trump, how is Tehran interpreting that warning from President Trump about possible U.S. military action?
The current regime in Tehran perhaps fears the Trump administration more than any other recent administration, maybe close to Bush. But we see how they treated U.S. personnel and how the attacks against U.S. personnel in the region under the Biden administration was much, much heavier. But once Trump came into office, we didn't see much of that. So there is great concern with the current admin in office from the Iranian perspective. They do see President Trump as an existential threat to them, as they should. So really, to them, this is an important, really, tipping point. They're watching.
Okay, well, I think we all know that this is an important tipping point, and I let that play as long as I could. I got our raid set up, but we're going to do our last update here. It's a very quick update. Regards to withdrawal of some U.S. troops here from the Middle East. Let's figure that out.
Following some breaking news out of the Middle East here right now, I wanted to put up this post on your screen from Fox News. The United States is withdrawing some personnel from key bases in the region as a precaution, given heightened regional tensions. That's according to U.S. officials speaking to Reuters.
What's up, Bob from Biker News Canada? Great to see you in the chat, bro.
Today on the condition of anonymity. The disclosure follows remarks by a senior Iranian official who told Reuters earlier today that Tehran had warned neighbors hosting U.S. troops that it would hit American bases if Washington strikes. Some personnel at a key U.S. military base in Qatar have been advised to evacuate by this evening. Now, that decision came as a senior official in Iran brought up an earlier Iranian attack there. That official, who also spoke to the Associated Press today, described the move at the airbase in Qatar as a precautionary measure. The official wouldn't go into any further details about the move, including whether the evacuation was optional or mandatory, if it affected troops or civilian personnel, or the number of those advised to leave, citing the need for operational security. And that post on your screen there is from a Reuters reporter as well. In response, Qatar said today that such measures were being undertaken in response to the current regional tensions. And I also wanted to put up this post here on your screen, and this is coming from Qatar's media office. If you'd like to read it in full, I'll take down this banner for you here. Now, the Pentagon declining to comment on questions about the move. It comes as anti-government protests in nearby Iran continue, and President Trump has said that he is willing to conduct military operations in the country if the government continues to retaliate against the protesters. That base, which...
Real quick, we got my buddy Straight Jacket in the building, sending in $5 on the Cash App, saying $1 dues for 5 of us, cuh. I very much appreciate that. Let's fucking go, bro. Thank you for the Cash App, my man. I'll bring this back 5 seconds here.
Military operations in the country if the government continues to retaliate against the protesters. That base, which hosts thousands of U.S. service members, was targeted by Iran in June in retaliation for U.S. strikes on its nuclear facilities. Iranian and Qatari officials had spoken just yesterday amid the deadly crackdown in Iran and America's escalating threats to intervene if protesters are not spared. Now, the Secretary for Iran's Supreme National Security Council had a phone call with Qatar's prime minister. In a statement on X, Qatar's prime minister said that he, quote, reaffirmed the state of Qatar's backing of all de-escalation efforts as well as peaceful solutions to enhance security and stability in the region. Now, just to provide some more context here, this comes after the head of Iran's judiciary signaled today there would be fast trials and executions ahead for those detained in nationwide protests, despite that warning from President Trump. The comments from Iran's judiciary chief come as activists had warned hangings of those detained could come soon. Already, a security force crackdown on the demonstrations has killed at least 2,571. That's the latest number we have there from the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency report. That figure is larger than the death toll from any other round of protest or unrest in Iran in decades. decades and recalls the chaos surrounded by the country's 1979 Islamic Revolution. As we've been saying here, President Trump repeatedly has warned that the United States may take military action over the killing of peaceful protesters just months after it bombed Iranian nuclear sites during a 12-day war launched by Israel against the Islamic Republic in June. Meanwhile, today, Iran held a mass funeral of 300 security force members killed in the demonstrations. Tens of thousands of mourners attended, holding Iranian flags and photos of Iran's supreme leader.
Shit. All right. So that looks like that is our wrap up for the morning. Guys, real quick, if you're on the, I know if you're on the vertical side, the links aren't going to work for you guys. But this link for the horizontal guys, make sure you guys go over there. I can't raid her because, unfortunately, her settings are not set up to be able to raid her in particular. But make sure you guys go over there at the end here. We're wrapping up. And for the ones that are sticking around, we're going to be also raiding our buddy Black Dragon. He's live right now. So make sure you guys let both of them know that we're coming through with a raid. So, all right. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. We're going to be back tonight for the Diamond Effect, me and Archbishop. It's going to be a great time. We're going to be talking a lot about silver this evening. So make sure you guys tune in with us at like 7-10 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have a great time. And then if I don't catch you guys tonight, well, then I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. Until then, God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Stick around for the raids. I very much appreciate it. Peace.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels, here's back to climb.